All right. Maria and Jennie from Owl's Brew, thank you so much for joining TapRm today. We're so excited to talk about all things Owl's Brew.
Thanks for having us on. We are
Yeah.
excited to be with you guys.
Yay. Okay, so we're going to jump in right from the beginning because between the brand story and all these amazing boozy teas, there's obviously a lot to get to here. So kind of interested in the origin story a little bit. Do you want to talk a little bit about sort of your journeys or your careers or sort of, life before starting Owl's Brew, maybe leading up to where you both met?
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Yeah,
I'll,
Jenny,
I'll,
you start and then I can talk about how we met.
okay, I'll jump in. Excuse me. So, I mean, Maria and I, we kind of, Owl's Brew is, you guys obviously carry it at tap room. We're so excited to be here today. And we make a clean, boozy beverage with tea and botanicals as a base. And it really all goes back to tea for us or to this idea of using super, super clean ingredients. So way back long ago, like more than a decade ago, Maria and I were working together, and the way it all started was a family member of mine was sick, and I was literally just like working in a totally different industry, and I was looking for ways, like things that were immunity boosting and antioxidant rich, and like for him. And of course I kept researching, kept hearing about tea, like white tea is so good for you, like botanicals are so good for you. So I started gathering them, and this like magical thing happened, like again, well over a decade ago, which is I dropped tea and water for the first time with like intention. Like clearly I'd made tea in my life before, but like with intention. And all of a sudden, like the color of the water changed, like the flavor changed. And I knew I was putting, vitamin C, antioxidants, all this good stuff into it. And I was kind of like, holy shit, like this is something you can do so easily and do so many good things. And it literally just like changed my life. I ended up becoming a tea sommelier. I literally built out. Maria and I had this office. I like made it into like a tea room. And our first business was selling tea pound by pound to different restaurants in New York. So we really started out in tea, and that was our beginning, right, Maria?
Yeah. Jenny actually, and she hired me as an intern. That's like literally how we met.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I hired Maria as an intern. And we started messing around with cocktails almost immediately.
Yeah.
So I was starting this tea company, and you guys are in New York. So like at a certain time, like we could walk down the street in New York, and I made all of the tea. I created all the blends for Sweet Green, Momofuku, the Edition Hotel.
Wow, that's
It was like
amazing.
so cool. Like we literally could like walk down the street, and like every single place on the street we had made the tea for, but that wasn't really enough. Like that was just kind of the beginning for us in terms of what
Yeah.
we wanted to do.
Then we started spiking it and realized that boozy teas were even better. That we could, drink, but still drink using like good, delicious ingredients. And like tea was like this incredible base for cocktails and spiked drinks. And you had all these like amazing flavors, but we're actually using like whole real ingredients. And that's really where our whole platform around DrinkWise came from. And this idea of like, even if you're drinking, you can still put good stuff into your body.
Yeah, we were messing around with cocktails, and it was kind of like, and obviously we knew tea, and I was like, how do we like put every single good thing into it and then spike it?
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like that's the New York element is taking some like new health craze and then making it boozy. And
Yeah, you're like, but we still like to have a good time.
Yeah.
We have a lot of funny stories about places we brewed tea cocktails in the early days.
Oh my God.
A lot of buckets involved, a lot of
Wow.
funny New York moments.
We did
Brewed
so
it.
many because we had a tea company, but we were doing tea cocktails in our early stage of R&D, like over a decade ago. Any event that we were asked to make tea cocktails, we would go. So I remember we like did a partnership years ago with like Bloomingdale's for events. And Maria was like, it's taking me forever to brew the tea. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, when I go into the bathroom, I have to, when you get a
Well, we
bathroom
always
sink
Yeah.
would like ask. We
by
were always
waving
like,
your hand.
you have water, and everyone would always be like, yeah, no problem, we have water, it's all good.
And then
And
we'd be
so
like, where's the water?
I
They're like, go
get
into
there.
the bathroom and like
They're
wave
like
your
in the
hand for
bathroom.
45 minutes. Oh, thank you.
Only getting water
And
in every like
it
5
doesn't like
seconds.
always work either, right? They're like the
It's like
worst
horrible to wash
sensors.
your hands with it. Imagine trying to like make buckets of tea for hundreds of people with that.
Oh
Oh
my
my gosh.
goodness. That is
Yeah, it's like a
dedication
true
to the drink.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial story.
We tech
Every
tea all over
hustle was,
all over the
all the hustle was
country.
real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh,
actually, I
incredible.
wanted to.
Suitcases full of tea.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to talk to you about that exciting period a little bit because I feel like that was like such a transition and growth stage, right? Where you were like putting the tea and the cocktails together and sort of, you were test driving this at, like you're saying, these incredibly in demand, respected venues and doing all these huge events. So, sort of, what was that brainstorming and growth phase like for both of you? And I'm also curious about the responses that you were starting to get and be able to see from people when you were doing these events.
Yeah, that was a crazy time. Like, I mean, when people say what kind of, that Malcolm Gladwell, like, outliers thing about to become a professional or to be at, like, you need 10,000 hours. When people were like, how do you do R&D? I was like, I literally for free brewed tea at a zillion events to see what people liked over, because we were building a different business. So we were monetized through our tea company Brew Lab, but any chance we got, like, do you want to come to Coachella and brew tea? We would pack like 100 pounds of lemon verbena in our like luggage. We like literally were checked by the TSA. They thought we were like so sketchy.
Up to no good.
They're like, like every time they're like, oh, those like drug smugglers again. Oh no, it's just tea again. But like every time, like pink checks in our bag because we were fresh brewing tea, so we were always carrying hundreds of. Like I once walked into a party in Washington D.C. It was an after party for like an event, and I had like armfuls of like green tea, and they were like, "What the F are you doing?" And I was like, for the party, they're like, maybe, but people don't usually bring it in this way. And I was like, no, it's tea. It's for cocktails. It's nothing.
Just botanicals.
It's botanicals.
Yeah.
And now it's probably legal anyway, but whatever. So, the response was amazing. That's why we decided to launch Owl's Brew. Ultimately, we exited our tea company, Brew Lab Tea, in 2018. We sold it to a much bigger tea company, and it was honestly all those years, like it was our dream. All those years, like we wanted people to be able to drink the way we knew that they could drink, and so it was all the years of like hustle. And I don't know. I once found Maria brewing tea at Coachella using an oar instead of a spoon to stir.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we got scrappy.
I mean, I don't know. She was like, oh, all the other chefs took the spoon. So I like grabbed an oar, but I cleaned it really well. I was like, what? I mean, that was for 1,000 people, that event.
We brewed in our hotel room in Art Basel one time when they kicked us out of the kitchen.
That was for a very fancy event.
That was for a very fancy event. And they promised us like space in the kitchen to brew. And then of course, like the event got crazy and they're like, you can't be in here. We're like, well, where do we go? We're like, definitely just back to our hotel room at this like really nice hotel.
It's called Bathtub Gin.
I was going to say, thank goodness you have that resource of the brewing in the bathroom already. So
yes.
But yeah, I mean, we don't brew Owls brew in bathrooms, obviously, but the response
but we were fresh brewing everything. Yeah,
we were fresh brewing. We still fresh brew, just in a much more elevated way, much more commercial methodology.
That's true. But yeah, no, I was gonna say the response is always great, and people were really excited that they could have like a beverage that they felt good about when they were drinking. And something that we talk about a lot is like, even for us, like the more we started this because we really loved it, and like we loved the way they taste, we loved the way they made us feel, we loved this whole idea. But then the more that we dug into the industry, like also the more shocking I think it was for us, right? Like it was even kind of like what was in some of these products and what products are made with is wild.
Well, that's why we just
the lack of like transparency.
That's why we just partnered with Women's Voices for the Earth to actually shine a light on the
but yeah, just like I mean, and I'm sure you guys know, but like the lack of transparency in some of these ingredients, like natural flavors in particular, is one that's just crazy, and like made with chemicals, artificial and natural flavors are nutritionally the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Which is just insane, right? The way that they're marketed and positioned, and like the way that labeling allows you to hide ingredients and stuff like that. So
well, because like I think people don't always realize, right, is that alcohol is not regulated by the FDA. So anyway, there's so much opportunity to make great products, great ways. And you guys at TapRm have done such an amazing job identifying great products made great ways. So we're anyway, but
Yeah.
we're really bullish on you. But yeah, I mean, that's we made it because we couldn't find it, and people liked it. Those are the reasons. If it was just because we couldn't find it, if people didn't like it, that would have been stupid.
It's incredible that you were able to take something that was just a passion project of yours and then really find like another avenue where people just had this demand for it and then turn it into a totally new business and product that does show that transparency and kind of, I think, like shines that light on the health industry where you can't, trust everything that you see just, based on the, what they're showcasing you. So I think that's amazing that you are kind of going to be one of those industry leaders for transparency and great products. So
thanks. And what's crazy, and it's been amazing, is like how much the consumer is there now. Like when we started out 10 years ago, I remember, being behind a booth at a trade show, just being like, it's made with whole ingredients. It's organic. Like it would take me 10 minutes. And like, of course, we're having a whole conversation, but we literally could just say, oh, it's a completely clean, boozy beverage with tea and botanicals as base. And you'd be like, that sounds great. It used to be before it was like tea in a cocktail. What do you mean real ingredient? Like 10 minutes, like 10, 15 minutes to explain it. So, and we also see it in like velocity. We see it in the sales with you guys. We see it in sales with our other retailers. It's like the consumer is finally there. And we've spent so many years just like hustling and really believing in this. So it's amazing as entrepreneurs and founders that, because you don't really have a business if you don't have a consumer.
Right.
So, amazing that we're at this moment where people actually care about a brand like ours.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing.
I want to get maybe even a little bit more into that, into, why tea is such a game-changing base for these cocktails. But kind of like following the trajectory of the brand, when you made the leap to start Owl's Brew, can you walk us through a little bit about that journey? You'd already had this brand, so it wasn't, I wouldn't say from the ground up, but what was it like building Owl's Brew, and like how has that journey sort of played out to today?
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy.
Loaded question.
I mean, lots to break apart there. I think one thing that's been interesting, I mean, we can talk all day about production and how interesting that piece of it is. But one thing that really stuck out to us when we transitioned from being a tea company to an alcoholic company, which is why we started Wise Women Collective, was when we found ourselves suddenly selling beer. Maria and I, now granted the first year was on Zoom, and it isn't beer, it's in the beer category, but like we met so many, we like called it joking. We were like, this is the year of 1,000 men. And we were like, wow, we've met so many men this year. And I kind of joked with my husband about that. And then I was like, wait, why have I met like 1,000 men and, 10 women this year? And of course we have a lot of ladies on this call, but when we started looking into the statistics in this industry, we realized that, only 4% of women are in leadership positions. Only 4% of women make flavors. Like I make our flavors like a brewmaster does. And only 5% of women are in sales, which means that in the US, 68% of men drink alcohol and 64% of women drink alcohol. But the liquor industry is 96% male from the beginning, top to the bottom. And that actually really changed our strategy, because we were like, we had just been focused on the brand, on the product. And all of a sudden we were like, wow, we're a minority. Like we actually are kind of responsible for that. Because if we don't determine what that means to us to be such a minority, that's kind of a fail on our part in terms of how we're thinking about this. And so we had to take a big step back just within a year of launching the brand and say, okay, well, we're a female founded brand in this crazy place where there aren't a lot of us. What does that mean to us? And we ended up deciding that promoting women's voices was super, super important to us. That we had a role to play in this industry, and we had a voice along with the clean stuff. And we started this group, Wise Women Collective. And of course we support Pink Boot Society whenever we can, but like, I don't know, we do all kinds of fun things. Like we, I was an English major. I was like in publishing before tea. And we have something called Boozy Book Club, where every month we just interview an awesome female author. So it's just a great way to celebrate women's voices and women coming together in like a low key way, but shine a light on some issues. And we also partnered up with this great charity, Women's Voices for the Earth, that supports clean products, but also women. So that was a big curveball for us. We were like, wow, we have this entire other thing to grapple with that's super important, but that we just discovered it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, I guess to like quite literally answer your question about how did we transition, it's really
Is that
hard.
not literal? Is that not literal?
Well, that is more like,
Sorry,
it's all
I've been
important.
thinking a lot about why we have a busy book club coming up this week. Maybe I took it too. Sorry.
It was worth
No,
talking about for sure.
it's good. It's great. We're also, one other thing while we're on Wise Women Collective that we have coming up is in October, we're doing a big program with Keep Abreast, which is a breast cancer awareness charity. They focus on like early detection and knowledge, and just kind of like the whole idea of like knowledge is power. And they're really big on that whole idea, and like having like what your environment impacts and all that stuff. So we have a lot of stuff coming up with them as well.
I thought you were making it literal, Maria.
I am. I'm I was going to say back to the production side of things, or the actual launching. And I will say, launching a brand is probably like one of the hardest things we've ever done, right? Like there's no roadmap, especially when you're doing, well, there is a roadmap if you're like kind of rinsing and repeating something that's already exists. But when you're trying to do something like we have been for years, and, actually kind of change up the way that products are made, like fresh brewed the tea. And like, when I say that, we literally fresh brewed tea and like you do at home in your kitchen, but like in gigantic vats, basically. And so actually finding a way to make that process happen and like essentially recreate what we were making in buckets in a production facility was incredibly challenging. And many partners, many conversations. It was a real uphill battle, and it's still something that it's like the biggest thing that we deal with today.
And it's so important for taste, but also for health benefits to come through. Like it doesn't come through if you use a flavor, and we're so bullish on having like a natural flavor. And so it's a quality thing for us. It's so important that like our consumer is getting the right taste, and also just like all the benefits from tea. So we're constantly fighting that fight still.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like a constant, but I think that's really been like one of the biggest challenges. And of course, the industry itself is super complicated. It's like every state operates in its own world. And so
I know how that goes.
Yeah.
Three-tier.
You guys are
three-tier system is no joke.
Your own path in it. Yeah, it's no joke. So I think those things have probably been the biggest challenge for us. And as Jennie said, like I think the consumer is finally kind of at a point where I feel like our biggest challenge isn't education. It's like people get it. It's really just for us now, like building the brand and getting out there and like cutting through the noise and staying true to kind of our story and our roots and like why we're doing what we're doing. So I think those are kind of all the things that we think about in addition to all the charitable partnerships we're building.
Yeah, I'm glad you did start speaking about the Wise Women Collective and all these initiatives. I do want to, a little bit later in the conversation, definitely talk even more about that, because I do think it's amazing that you hit the ground running with all of that at once. It wasn't, a lot of companies are around for 2 decades and then they start to incorporate that because they're like, okay, like we're, we know what we're doing over here now. So I think it's amazing that Owl's Brew is like this full package. Where it's like it's about obviously the drink at hand, but it's also about the mission and who you are and this whole sort of ethos. So I think that's really unique and amazing. But to get into the drinks, like we're saying here, so you got into this a bit already, but can you maybe like get even deeper on like why? I guess until Owl's Brew, really, like within beverage alcohol, people just sort of have been accepting for so long that they're like, oh, okay, like natural flavors, like sure, and like where do you think the disconnect is in consumer knowledge there? Like what have we not been like clued in on? What are we not getting? And like, why is it so much better to be using tea as like this truly clean base?
Mike, 1 second. My computer I see is dying. I'm just going to try to, we can,
Yep.
Yeah, we can pause.
Pause.
sorry, pause. That
I'm gonna
fixed it.
turn the
Okay,
heat off.
we're ready. I just had to turn on. That's done. Okay. Okay, we're on pause, Maria.
Yeah.
I know. I was just turning off the heat while we're doing that. It's getting a little
Sorry.
toasty in here.
Do you want to ask the question again, or
I can cut right after the question. So as long as you're fine.
tea is a truly clean base?
Yeah.
Yeah, YTIN.
So basically, the FDA defines natural flavors as anything that's made from the earth. And so what that means is a natural flavor can be like something made from bark or something made from a lemon, but a natural flavor can also be made from an animal, because animals are from the earth as well, which is interesting because, I feel like people think, I used to think it was stupid. I would see like a beverage labeled vegan, and I was like, what is this marketing BS? Like, of course it's a vegan, it's a beverage. Like, why wouldn't a beverage be vegan? Natural flavors is why a beverage wouldn't be vegan. So I kind of thought it was marketing BS. On the flip side, I was like, this is such bullshit, like whatever. Like, of course it's vegan. Like, tell me something I don't know. But that is what I didn't know. And so basically, so in addition to natural flavors being able to be made from anything, and one example of that, and Food Babe, if you guys follow her, has done a really good job covering this, and she has this in her stories. But for instance, natural raspberry flavor, natural vanilla flavor in particular. So if you're like, raspberry flavored tea with natural flavors are often made, and I'm sorry, this is going to be gross, but can be made from the anal glands of beavers or possums. So it's like super real.
Wow.
And like,
Yeah.
and actually, gross. And for anyone who's a vegan or vegetarian, like really upsetting when you realize that. So that's like one, is like natural flavors can be made from anything from the earth. The second piece of it is that natural flavors are always altered, like they're modified. So like if you discover that you can make a raspberry flavor from, I don't know, a piece of lemon or from a beaver, you're still using about 100 chemicals in a lab to make that happen. And it strips out the benefits. So by the time you have natural raspberry flavor versus just raspberry, you don't have any vitamin C. It's not made from a raspberry, or else you would just call it raspberry. And it has about 100 chemicals added in, or 50 or 60 or 70. So it's completely bogus and really messed up. And to answer your question, why? Marketing. I mean, you can sell it for a couple dollars more if it's a natural flavor. I mean, natural flavors. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I don't know any reason beyond marketing that
Marketing and mass production.
I'm saying natural over artificial.
Yeah.
The only reason you would use a natural flavor over an artificial flavor is because you can sell it for more.
Interesting. It kind of
naturally made, or an organic natural flavor is actually much better. An organic natural flavor still has some of the problems, but it's less gross. But it's just kind of BS. I mean, to be honest. And I fought for it all the time.
And also they taste a lot worse. So like, forget that.
What?
I said they also taste a lot worse. So like,
it also tastes a lot worse. But I fall for it all the time as a mom. Like, I'll like buy like for a kid's birthday party, I'll like buy a brand that I think is like really a good brand because it's positioned as a better brand. And then I'll look and it's like all natural flavors. And I've just been like upsold on natural. Like, so I fall for it too. And it kind of pisses me off because it's marketing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
not all consumers are going to take the time either.
I will say one other thing about that. It's also not like one other thing, sorry, is it's not anyone's. So like a lot of our, peers use natural flavors. And I just want to say like that it's not, sometimes it's almost never intentional. Like what happened when Maria and I wanted to make Owl's Brew was we were like, okay, we have this tea and we want to make Owl's Brew. And we spoke to like 10 industry experts and they were like, you need to go to a flavor house. And we were like, okay. And so we like got our butts over to a flavor house and we're like, here's like the tea that we want to make. And the flavor house was like, okay, we can take this and here is this version. It's exactly like yours. And we made it with natural flavors and it's ready to go. And I was like, okay, it doesn't taste exactly like mine, but I don't understand. I can make my tea and my tea tastes like my tea. Why would I use this thing that is supposed to be a fake version of my tea to taste like my tea when I can make it? And they were like, well, that's the way it's done. And Maria and I, we'd been in the tea business for over a decade. So we had sold a company. Like I knew I was able to be like, no, Flavor House. I know every single advisor, every single expert has told me this is the only way to make the product, but I reject that because I want to use fresh brewed tea. And then we called 20 different co-packers. Hey, co-packer, we want to make this like spike sparkling tea. Okay, great. We're only going to work with flavors. What flavor house are you working with? 19 out of 20 said no. So if we hadn't already been in the beverage industry, if I hadn't spent like 10 years on premise, if I wasn't like every single person we spoke to pushed us so much in that direction that I don't even know that we would have known there was another option, like
Yeah,
from
100%.
big beverage, if I hadn't been literally brewing tea for a decade. And so it's not like I think it's marketing maybe for big brands, but I think for smaller brands, it's just where the industry tells you to go.
Sure, it's where they're pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the natural grooves.
It's just
No
kind of
one's
like the way
here, can you bring in some
it's
really
done.
annoying ingredient for me to brew and like, let's work through this process. They're like, bring me the flavor. And they're like, okay, that's how it's done. So I don't think it's like it's not like there's a brand that's at fault. We were pushed to do it in such a crazy way. And we just had confidence because we knew how we needed to make our product.
On that note, on making your product, I'd also like to maybe go even a little bit deeper on, in general, before we break it down into the specific varieties that Owl's Brew has currently. What can you share a little bit, pull back the curtain for people? So we know we have fresh brewed tea on a large scale, obviously. What is actually providing the alcohol? And then because you have such beautiful flavor combinations, is that all from the tea? Are you adding fruit? Like, can you get a little bit into how the whole drink actually comes together?
Sure. Yeah, you can go for that one, Jennie. Go ahead.
Oh,
Talk
sure.
about the tea. Yeah.
So the tea
blends.
I do all the blending
Yeah.
in my kitchen. I mean, we have like a pretty janky R&D process in our office where we have like a Brix meter and a pH meter, and we do things like we have to to get the pH, we have to like swing a lasso over our heads to make the pH meter work, and we have all kinds of things. But we have in our offices, it's like lemon verbena, green tea, rooibos, hibiscus. I'm just doing all the R&D now for a holiday variety pack that we're working on.
That's exciting.
And it really just all starts in my kitchen, and we scale it up from there. I mean, we go through rounds, people taste and test, and we have inputs along the way to develop the flavors. But it all starts with some water.
Yeah, water. And Jennie comes up with the tea bases and the tea blends themselves. Like we have all sorts. I mean, as you guys have seen, we have some that are like simpler, and then some like that are my favorite is jasmine and blueberry.
I love that one too.
We worked on that. And by the way, jasmine and blueberry lemon that was like an early flower blend that I worked on for
like a flower power blend. Yeah,
it was called Flower Power back in the day. But that one, it's called jasmine blueberry lemon, but it actually has hibiscus flowers in it. It has rose petals in it. It has chamomile flowers in it. It's so good for your skin, that entire blend. So like
green rooibos is the base.
Yeah, too. Green rooibos, which is like nature's like Gatorade. Like it's like very hydrating. So I love that blend.
Yeah. So it sort of depends on. So I guess in terms of the actual process, so we start with Jennie coming up with a tea blend, and then all of them have a little bit of juice. So some of them have like a citrus juice or for blueberry, for example. And then some of them are sweetened with a little bit of cane sugar. Some of them have no sugar added at all. And the alcohol base that we use is a fermented sugar base that we do a double filtration process. So it ends up being like a really, really clean alcohol base.
Oh, interesting. That's really cool. I don't think I've heard that.
Gluten-free.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard. It's like during this process of doing this podcast, the whole reason Courtney and I started the concept was because there are so many drinks out there now that you don't know what the alcohol actually is that's in it. Like, I think people ask us that, at least at TapRm, all the time, like, what is in the seltzer or what is in the hard kombucha? But filtrated sugar, that's like, I don't think I've heard that one before. That's amazing.
Yeah, when it ferments, think about like how rum is made from
Right.
sugar, right? So it ferments, and then through that process you lose the actual sugar itself, but you end up with a very
Yeah, it's
clean
not sweet at all. It's
alcoholic
more
base.
like a
Yeah,
vodka base. Yeah.
it's not sweet.
Very innovative.
Yeah.
And then we carbonate.
Mm-hmm.
And we brew it. We
Yeah. Then it gets all mixed
brew
together.
everything.
Yeah.
Brew it all.
Are there any other so here's the opportunity to shine a spotlight on any different varieties. You already started talking about a couple there. Do you want to walk through any other sort of the Owl's Brew staples, or just your favorites or ones that you're really excited about, and maybe how that inspiration process came together, what the finished flavor and aroma profile is like I guess just like brag about your Owl's Brew kids here.
We do have some new flavors launching in a new variety pack. So we'll have a variety pack that that is called Happiest Hour to complement our party pack. So party
Love
pack
that.
and Happiest Hour. That's launching, I want to say in June, July.
Yeah,
right,
technically July 1st. Yeah.
Technically July 1st. And so that will have a few of our new flavors in it. One of them is a black tea pineapple flavor. Will be in that variety pack. And we worked pretty hard on that one. And then Marie, what was the other one that we're
Green tea and peach.
Oh, green tea peach. Yeah.
That sounds like the perfect summer.
It is the
Yeah.
perfect summer sipper, if you will. It's so delicious. It's like, I don't know, the combination of green tea and peach is awesome. And it's like just a little bit of sweetness from the peach. It's so good.
One of my favorites. And yeah, the green tea peach is like I've been messing around with green tea, peach, and ginger. Actually, this one doesn't have ginger, but it's like I love that combination. So maybe
that was like one of our OG, if you will, cocktails.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's coming out, and then let's see. We have our white tea watermelon actually launching for this summer in a larger size, in a 19.2 ounce size. Which would be good. We're launching at a few venues this summer. So it was really created for the venues, for amphitheaters, concerts, but it'll be available in some markets too.
Nice. They'll be good to see that around like the concert scene now too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We're excited.
We can't wait to see it. It's always so exciting when you see something come off a line.
Yeah.
Also, it's like exactly what I want at a concert personally. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of a 20 ounce Bud Light.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always so confused about what to order.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
it
fits a very, like, there's nothing else like it, right? Like it's got so much more flavor than, I mean, no shade to hard seltzer or anything, but like there's just so much more complexity going on, and yet it's still so incredibly refreshing and easy drinking. So I feel like it's like corners its own special market, right? Where it's really perfect in any occasion.
Thank you so much. I worked so hard to do that. So thank you. I'm really glad you feel that way.
Yeah. That's like the dream. We're going to use you as a quote.
Yeah. I mean, the conversations we have about, just nailing flavors. And of course it's me, but we I don't know. That's awesome. Thank you.
What's really interesting too is that I feel like you already have these incredible flavor combinations, but we've gotten from your team in the past on the blog, people can search for them, amazing cocktails. So I feel like you can even build, like, the possibilities are endless. You can take an Owl's Brew tea, which is already like good to go. You do not need to do anything to it. But then if you wanted to just, have fun and experiment and get creative, like, you all have also come up with some pretty fun cocktail ideas with them as the base.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's something where, like, all the stuff you described, the nuance. So when we talk about jasmine, blueberry, lemon, or, when you actually think about all the other flavors that are in there, the other ingredients, that's where, as opposed to, again, and I agree, no shade to seltzer, but where through the tea and botanicals, you can add nuances that speak to liquor. And that, for me, like, that was, when I came up on premise, that was really, I was always collaborating with bartenders and mixologists and beverage directors to tea cocktails as well. And so 100% these are meant to be like refreshing and crushable, if that's the word that we use. But they're also honestly like I meet with mixologists all the time. They're always messing around with gin and tequila, and because of the good ingredients we use, they can lend themselves to cocktails. So yes, big yes on
Yeah, it
cocktails.
makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. All right. Well, as we talked about before, I want to get back to, you were talking about the Wise Women Collective and the book club. Is there anything else in particular? I mean, I feel like when you go on the Owlsbury website, there's a lot of great info there about specific, events and things that are going on within. Is there anything else there that you want to talk about? Any exciting partnerships or things that are coming up that you're working on, sort of under that umbrella?
I'm trying to think. I feel like we covered a lot
You
of
did.
the new and noteworthy
Or
ones.
even what book is next for the book club.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Our next book is called The Lifeguards, and it's by Amanda Ward Air.
I Word, or Air Word,
Is it Air Ward? Amanda Air Ward or Amanda Ward Air?
It's really good. Highly recommend. It's like a beach read met like Dateline or something.
Beach read page turner. So we're interviewing her when this week?
On Thursday.
We're interviewing her this week. And that will stay live on our Instagram. We keep Boozy Book Club in our stories. And then we have some fun stuff coming up. We're going to be at a few events.
A lot of big summer events coming up. I feel like we're just gearing up for kind of that fun, good, clean fun in the sun season. So tons of events. Stay tuned on our Instagram for some fun giveaways. And then the happiest hour is our big summer launch. So keep your eye out for that, and maybe we can do something with you guys.
Yeah, highly anticipated. I'm sure we'll do some type of giveaway when that comes out. So.
Yeah, we would love that.
100%.
Happiest Hour pack and the beach book together. That's your vacation right there. Yeah.
I want that.
Ooh, I like that. It's got like good like sunset vibes too, like sunset cocktail, beach, everything.
Wow.
It's a summer mood.
Yeah, all of these like images are just coming in.
Yes, we're excited about that. And the Women's Voices for the Earth, we actually have an Instagram live coming up with them too, but that was a charity that we were really excited to partner up with because of Wise Women Collective, and their entire mission is about making the world less toxic. They partner with a lot of clean beauty brands or clean cleaning brands. This idea of like focusing on clean ingredients and focusing on women's issues and impact combined was we were like, we can get behind that. That literally stands for everything that we stand for. So we'll be chatting with them later this week about Earth Day and kind of announcing the partnership. But that's a partnership we're excited about, and like that opportunity to support them is very cool for a brand like us.
Yeah, it sounds perfectly aligned.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, and we'll be linking to everything in the blog post so people can easily find out all this information and watch all these great Instagram lives and everything. So much going on. But I guess I just want to end, you've talked about what's coming up for this summer, but thinking a little bit more sort of Owl's Brew grand dreams, goals, just like the mission as it continues to evolve. What are you thinking the future holds for Owl's Brew? What's on the horizon? How will the brand continue to play out over the coming years?
Wow, big question.
No
pressure.
Maria, do you want to run?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that we'll continue to do is really around our platform of DrinkWise. So we have some really fun plans coming for 2023 in the immediate future, but our everything we're going to do is going to ladder up to our mission of drinking wise, and this idea that you can celebrate and have a good time and not worry about what else you're putting into your body while you're doing that. And I think kind of on top of that, I mean, Jennie and I just want to build a brand. We want more people to try it. We hope that people love it. We hope that they have a similar experience to you. And we hope that we can kind of continue to innovate and come up with really delicious things for people to celebrate with.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes tuned.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff coming.
Yeah, we're excited. We have a good plan.
Outside of everything we already told you.
Yeah.
Really good. So
We have a good future plan. We'll continue.
It's all
We'll
good.
continue.
It's all great. Yeah.
So long as I have a kitchen and Maria has a website, we'll be okay.
The magic of business. Yeah. Website in the kitchen.
No doubts.
Yeah, I think we're all very excited to see what keeps coming from Owl's Brew. We love the brand. I know anyone listening loves the brand, or if they're finding the brand now, like I'm almost jealous they get to experience it again for the first time. So thank you so much for coming on and walking us through the drinks, your story. We really appreciate it. It was a great chat.
Yeah, it was so great.
No, thank you guys
thank you so much for having us on. It was so much fun to connect with you ladies on this.
With you both.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Cheers.
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 Cheers.